I know. There we go. Because once I get in there and I get whatever answer I get, it's usually taken right back out. So with them, the way they're shown to me, it's like a huge warehouse with these really brilliant pearl white filing cabinets. And so everybody's filing cabinet can go like forever. And I just, whatever question you ask, I pull the file out and I kind of read it. I don't know how to, that's the best way I can explain it.
Okay.
But I think it manifests in a different way for everybody. I think I just love sci-fi so much. And so that's why it manifests that way for me. But so it takes me just a minute too.
Now, are you able to ask, certain questions like what's going on right now? I mean, as far as, and how old my soul is, how many times I've been reincarnated, that sort of thing. Okay. Those.
First, tell me your full name you were born with.
Meggan Lee Dondelinger.
And then I just need to know your birth date, not the year, just the month and the day.
December 13th.
You have an interesting birthday. Okay. So what's the first thing you want to know? Okay, so let me say this right off the bat. You have an interesting birthday.
Yeah, but it's how interesting.
Well, the 12, 13, like the numbers in order, and then the way that the numbers are like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Do you know what time you were born?
6:51 p.m. I'm pretty sure it was 6:51 p.m.
Okay. So whenever you said your birthday, and I was kind of looking at that, it's like I kept seeing an interesting graph of different numbers in the way that they're laid out. So there's something, and it's like I can't quite wrap my mind around what it is. It's maybe it'll make sense to you. It's a really long line. It looks like a timeline, like it's got tick marks in it and it's got dots here and there. Some of the dots are humongous and some are like little tiny, but it's very logically laid out. Like there's a pattern to it. I can't figure out, like the pattern doesn't look familiar to me, but it does at the same time.
That's weird.
And while I just kind of like the sound of the cards, it like helps me check out, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I do remember that one of the questions you were asking about was something with karma and so on in this life. And I'll have you ask that again because I had a card flip out in a very weird way. So I just set it to the side. And I have a feeling that it has to do with that timeline. So whenever you're ready, I'll have you just go ahead and ask whatever you want to know first. But that question is very important.
Okay.
The karma question.
The first question I had was, I have been ill for the last 6 months and the doctors can't figure out what it is. And I have been trying to fix it on my own. And I'm just wondering, because they were giving me angel numbers about the karma, this being karma. And I'm just curious when this is going to end.
So first of all, there's a couple of things with this. Yes, some of it is karma, but the other part is that you actually had someone do something very interesting against you when you were about 19.
Really?
What sucks about it is that you didn't mean anything by it. You didn't, like, you had no ill intent in mind. They were having a bad day and they took it out on you. So they sped up the karma, which is why you go through bouts like this all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Okay.
but it's not like, don't let that scare you too much. It's not, it's bad, but not, does that make sense? So,
Yeah. I thought maybe somebody in town had put a curse on me with this illness.
so it's literally what they did was they didn't understand that their words were as powerful as they were. They've done this to a few different people. Um, they weren't a very old soul. And so they didn't understand what they were doing when they said this stuff out loud. So
Okay.
the way to fix it, it's actually easier than you'd think. Because it was just a spoken thing. It was like just a spoken manifestation to push your karma along faster. It's like so weird. Okay, all right. Well, so a lot of this is going on now is karma. It's just speeding up. So the way that you fix this is you have a very interesting younger soul around you. Yours is what I would call middle-aged. So like if you look at it on a scale of like human years from like 1 to 70, yours is probably 35, 30,
Okay.
35. Like that's about where your soul lands, like almost right in the middle. So it's not old, but it's not young. Like it's old enough to know some shit and some stuff, but young enough to realize you don't know some shit and some stuff. So the karma that you're going through right now is stuff that you skirted when your soul was younger. Your soul is very, very intelligent and it's a little trickstery, and you can sidestep things. So there's a younger soul that's around you. What's funny is physically they're older than you, but they're around you right now. Their soul is much younger. They look at things so much differently, like outside the box. They get excited over stupid little shit. They do little shit that 5-year-olds would do. Like they're out of the norm.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more about this person in general. It's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep seeing gray hair. I keep seeing longer gray hair. So she's older.
And you said she's a young soul, but she was older physically.
She's older physically than you are right now. Yes.
Okay.
What's funny is it's her energy and her okay. So she's actually a very unique being. She's a soul that doesn't come to earth very often. That's why she kind of lives outside the norm. Literally just spending time with her, spending time in her presence it's almost like it takes this karma and does this to it, like shrinks it.
When you were just talking about her, I got goosebumps, like my whole body vibrated.
So
Vibrating
yeah,
right now.
she's a very, very interesting soul. I don't think that you know her very well.
Okay. But
You might. I don't know, but I can't see much more than this like really long gray hair. And it's like gray silver. It's really beautiful, but she has all kinds of laugh wrinkles. Like she's always smiling. She's always laughing. She's always seems to be happy, but you can see like her eyes just look disconnected from the rest of her. Her eyes give away everything. Like her eyes just look super old. Her soul is actually, so time doesn't work the way we think it does. And when we think about how a soul's time works, and this is especially true with looking at Akashic records, it's not a straight line. It curves back. It goes like this back and forth. And you actually, souls have lives that they've lived that are way, way in the future, but yet in the past before the one you're in right now. Like it's really, it can make your brain hurt really badly when you try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Our meat sacks are not equipped to understand all of that. So sometimes you have to just let it be what it is. She's one of those souls that she doesn't come to earth very much. She has a really, really ancient soul, but it's younger. because she normally lives, and I put that in quotes, in a place that there really isn't time,
Okay.
not how we think about it.
Okay.
So this is the person that when you come across them, when you're around them, they seem very childlike with the way they look at the world, how
Mhm.
little tiny things make them happy, how they just seem to live outside of the norm, but at the same time, they seem like the oldest person ever in the history of ever.
Okay.
So, um, literally just spending time in her presence will help
And
squash this.
how do I do that? Meditating?
So if you don't know who she is already, she's someone that lives there close by. She lives in proximity where you can physically go and see her. I have a feeling you'll probably come across her pretty quickly now that you're looking for her. You may
No.
already know her and just don't know yet.
Okay. Okay. So she's a physical body is what you're saying right now.
Mhm.
She's
Yeah,
and
she's
really long silvery hair.
like silver gray. It's really, I would bet that when she was younger, her hair was black, because down towards some of the bottom of it, you can still see some dark, some black in there. You know how
Yeah.
when the hair grows out and you can still see down in here is like some gray black. Um, and she's not somebody that works in a metaphysical shop. She doesn't operate in this realm really. So in spending time with her and being in her proximity, it's not that you even have to talk about this at all.
Okay.
She just has a soul that there's something with her soul that she just heals people without even realizing she's doing it.
And
Is there a little diner in town?
yeah, there's a few. There's a small few. There's 4
This
restaurants
one,
total, I think.
okay. This one has a weird red awning. A weird, is it roof? I can't. It
I'll look-
curves. Maybe it's maroon. I don't know. It curves and it looks red, but
okay.
I'm seeing it like, so like if the building were sitting here, it's like I'm looking at it like that. It's,
Yeah, that
I
might
don't know
be
what that has to do with her, but it has to do with her.
that hangs out. I don't know. Gosh, I wish I knew who you were talking about. I try to stay away from people in town because it's such a small town. It's everybody talks about everybody.
Mhm.
So I
Well,
just
go grab lunch sometime.
okay.
Go grab lunch sometime.
Okay.
With that karma also, it kind of has to run its course. The sickness has to run its course, but
Does it say how long it's gonna last? I mean, I'm running thin on my patience. It's all about eating. I can't eat anything that's histamine rich. So I have been eating turkey, sweet potatoes, and rice for the past 3 months, 3 times a day. Basically, I'm miserable. I'm
I
underweight.
can only imagine. I can only imagine. So here's the thing about that. I keep seeing the number 6, so I'm going to say probably 6 months total. Um, because it's not years. I can tell you that it's not years. It's not something like that. Um, it's meant to test your patience. It's meant to really cause a lot of problems. You were supposed to have this spread out sporadically throughout your life. So whatever this is that this person said to you is like, I can't even quite hear the words because they said something really hateful, but at the same time, their intention behind it was for you to get your karma really swiftly or something like that. It's like whatever it was that they said to you, put
Okay.
this in motion. Um, and that person they're not here anymore. So there's no way for them to undo it. Like they, this is where ripples come in. They caused so much issues and so much shit with their gift because they didn't understand how to use that gift, that the universe basically put them in a timeout, pulled them out.
Okay.
And because they caused a lot of issues like this with so many people that they just, yeah,
Okay.
they got yanked. So the angel numbers you're seeing about karma, pay attention to what time of day they're happening. Keep you a little check mark, like a little thing, like I'm seeing the number 222. Just keep tabs on what time of the day you're seeing it. It's actually kind of a code for finding this person, finding this lady.
Okay. Okay. A lot of it's time. It's not really numbers. I'm starting to see numbers other than the time, but time is the one that I'm really getting at the most.
Yeah. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of a code.
Okay.
So when you start, what I would do would be to keep a checklist, a little check mark, like write down, okay, it's 222. I'm seeing it. I saw it today. Saw it today. I saw it today. I saw it twice today. You know what I mean? Like, do that for like a week. Keep tabs on it. And if you're seeing, like, if you see 222 somewhere else that's not on the clock, pay attention to like what time of day you saw it at. I have a feeling that's what that line is that I was telling you I saw at first. It's like that line with
The timeline.
the timeline with the dots and so on. It's like a logic puzzle. It's like a logic puzzle.
Okay. Okay.
So some
to
of
that.
it is your spirit guides, but some of it is your soul, the way your soul is. You go about things in a very odd, roundabout manner.
I feel like I have become more connected to my higher self now in the last month than I have ever. And I'm getting chills just saying that, because I feel so in tune with myself. The last 2 days, or I think it was 2 or 3 days apart, I saw a herd of deer in town, and then I saw a deer pass across when I was parked in front of my car. It ran by, and it says that with deer, when you see it, it's inner peace. It's like a,
Yeah, deer are actually the symbols of Buddhism. They are the symbols of inner peace. They're also grace and stealth. Deer are a very, very spiritual animal. So I think that's why people love them so much, especially when they see them. But so with this issue that you've been having for the past 3 months, and that you're going to continue to have for another couple months or so, even though this person pushed this on early, instead of it being spread out over your life with like little bouts of it, whatever it was they did, it caused it all to happen now. So when you've hit this spiritual awakening, when you've hit this really being in tune with yourself, with the universe, with your gifts and so on, it doesn't help either this time frame of what we're all going through right now with anywhere from 2020 to I really think it's going to be till 2024, this crazy awakening. It's funny, he never barks this much, like never.
is he just barking at random stuff, or?
Zeus.
Great name.
Hey, Zeus. Well, I don't know. There's snow falling off the roofs out there. I don't see anybody out there. So
that's weird.
Ooh,
6
you
months
got the hair up. Okay.
was usually when 6 months ago was when it all started happening. But 3 months ago, well, I want to say 4 months ago was when I really started getting the histamine intolerance. Like, I know this might sound crazy, but you could probably understand this more than anyone, is that I'm actually so sick that I'm being affected by electronics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to unplug my washer, my dryer, and my oven because I'm being affected by it. Like, it's lighting me up. Like, I can feel the surge of energy come through me when I use them.
So here's the thing. It's the weird line I saw at the beginning, the timeline, the numbers, all of that stuff, the way your brain works, the logical aspect of it. I'm going to give you homework in this because it's so much better if you read it and get that gut feeling than me telling you. But I am going to tell you, you are a very unique type of hybrid starseed. So in coming into your awakening and coming into this new aspect of how you are, where you're going, etc. Um, look up and kind of read the traits of both the Orion star seeds and the Andromedan star seeds. It's kind of a rarer combination of the two, but they're all very logical. They're all very in tune with metals, with electricity, with conductivity. I would bet that you get the shit shocked out of you all the time when you touch
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So it's what's cool about it is in learning about it and in learning the different traits that those star seeds have, you can actually learn to control some of the things around you by using it, especially if it's getting to that point. The cool thing about this is even though this person caused this problem for you and caused your body to start shifting before you were really ready for it to, is kind of the perfect storm with this person and the stuff going on just spiritually in the world right now. It's shoved you into really quickly being who your soul is supposed to be. So part of the reason your body is committing mutiny is the karma, but the other part is ascending. That's why it's so bad right now. Instead of having these little bitty bouts that you've had throughout your life with, man, I don't, like, nobody can explain why my leg's always hurting, or nobody can explain this or this. Some star seeds, you included, and I understand this on a very deep level, our meat sacks are not meant to hold our soul very long. And so our body starts breaking down much faster than it should. This is why there's a lot of children that are insanely intelligent that just, they don't belong here, end up dying very early with cancer or something like that, because their soul is too strong for their meat sack and their meat sack just can't hold it. So it breaks down, it starts to break down quicker than we would like. So it makes you feel like you're running out of time. It makes you feel like you have all this stuff spiritually you have to catch up on really quickly. And it makes you disconnect from the normal world out there. So I know that in the last year or so, it's been a little hard for you with connecting to anybody, much less, just not going into town or whatever, just connecting for anybody. But I know you had another question in there about your path, where you were going and so on. It kind of relates to this in a way. So I'll let you ask that question so I can go pull that file, unless you have more questions about this aspect.
No, I'm good on that one. Thank you. Curious what my path is, right? Like going forward, because I'm trying to start a business. I'm going to be making wallets and purses and leather, fake leather and all that kind of stuff. To kind of look like the Loungefly ones. But in a unique way. I want to know how that's going to take off and what my path is with this life. And then possibly, the next life. I guess what my total karmic path, or not karmic, but I guess just my path is.
Okay. So let's start with the business wise. Let's start with that stuff. Right now, you're really, really ungrounded. And I say it that way for a reason, because it's not that you're floating. It's like, here's the ground and your feet are kind of like dangling up here. That's like, you can't get all the way down. Part of the reason you're called to work with leather is because leather is not only very protective, but it is grounding. It is bringing you back to the earth and the animals, even if it's the fake leather. But leather in general is extremely protective. It symbolizes protection. So that's why you're really drawn to work with it. And as long as you plan and don't rush into it, it will be exactly what you need. If you rush into it, I keep seeing that fucking line. This is where this line comes in too. There is something with that line, and I'm probably gonna.
Well, also with the Reiki, like I had talked about it in the beginning when I had my spiritual awakening. I wanted to learn Reiki to kind of help myself because I had a lot of aches and pains.
Mhm.
And then I forgot about it. And then I got sick and I was like, you know what? I wonder. And then I met you on TikTok and I was like, I wonder if I do the Reiki, if it will heal me. And so now I'm doing the Reiki. So I'm curious as far as Reiki being, is that part of my path too? Is that I'm going to learn that? And I mean, now that I'm learning.
So a lot of star seeds are drawn to Reiki because, especially those that their bodies are not meant to hold their soul for long,
Mhm.
it helps to prolong and even out that energy. So what's cool about learning Reiki and with the electronic thing, I have crazy hair going on today. I'm sorry.
That
With
looks
the
beautiful.
electronic things, you're very, very extremely sensitive to energy itself. So you'll
Okay.
be able to manipulate it very, very easily
Oh, good.
and going forward. Sorry,
Okay.
this is driving me nuts. And so if I don't actually draw it, like it's starting to piss me off to that point. So I want to ask you a question before I show you this.
Okay.
And this doesn't really have much to do with your Akashic records. Okay. I've been asking certain people this just because I have a reason. There's a method to my madness. So how does that make you feel when you look at it?
Um, wow. Honestly, it looks familiar. That's crazy. Wow.
The reason I ask that is because this is the line I keep seeing,
Okay.
and it looks a lot like that. It's
Yeah,
just
it looks,
not round, but it looks
what,
a lot like that.
so what is your tattoo of?
It is coordinates. It's light language. I don't know to where,
Gosh, okay.
but it's
That's
coordinates.
that was coordinates, almost like
Mhm.
a language. I don't know if it's a coordinate or a language that, in a different language was trying to, say, if
Mhm.
that.
So I've been drawing it for a while. I have pages upon pages. Well, I have books of artwork with that in it.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, I saw something similar and it unlocked something in me and I started drawing it and I can't stop. And so I
Oh,
had to have it put on my hand. I don't know why.
that's
But it's very similar to the line I keep seeing with you. And so that's why I was like, all right, I'm just going to draw it because sometimes I have to draw it to get it to leave me alone.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how else to explain that to get it out of
No,
my head.
I get it.
There's something specific with this line. It's kind of a timeline, but not. I don't know how else to explain that because I can't, like I said, I can't wrap my head around what it actually is. It's very important for your soul. It's very important for your soul's path. It's very important for you going forward. It's very important for your past. Like it's just, but it's, so it's almost like it is a timeline, but it's not at the same time. I don't know. So I'm wondering if it's not coordinates for you as well.
Okay.
So I'll take a picture of it and send it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
But as far as you going forward with business wise and so on,
Take my time. Okay. I was worried that I needed to rush into it, but I'm scared if I rush into it, I'm going to mess it up and then I'm going to get frustrated and not want to do it. And
yeah,
so I'm taking my sweet ass time in getting everything, the right stuff.
yeah, take your time and go into it correctly. Let me send this to you right now because I will. But as far as going forward with the path that your soul's on this time around and manipulating energy and learning how to operate with the energies here, it will help prolong how long you're here, because as of right now you don't have a crazy, like some people are like, oh yeah, you know, my whole family lives to be in their 90s or 80s or 90s or whatever. You don't have a crazy long amount of time like 90 or 100. So
No, my
it,
dad, 58. My brothers were in their 30s. You read for my brother. He committed suicide in his 30s. So it's, we don't, my grandma was the oldest, 86, and that was a long time. So
yeah. So it's just something that, and I think you already kind of feel this, that clock ticking down. And so I think that's why, well, not I think, that's why you feel like you have to rush into something. But when I'm saying not to rush, it just means take a few months to get into it. You know what I mean? And I don't even mean a year. I mean like 4 or 5 months. I don't even
okay.
mean very long, but
Okay.
don't try to rush into everything right now.
Okay.
There are certain things that you need to gather, and there are certain things that you need to add into each piece that you make. I don't know if this line has something to do with it or what. I sent it to you. Well, I guess I could hit send. Um, but I emailed it to you. There is something specific design wise that will hit you now that you know you're looking for it. It may be the writing down the tick marks of the times that you see those numbers or whatever, but there's something specific that you are to put in each one of these. There's also specific things you're supposed to use that are going to find their way to you. You just have to be kind of patient for them to get to you. As far as where your soul is going in this life, part of this life was getting rid of that karma. But like I said, it was supposed to have been spread out along this karma, not along this life, not just in a jumble right now. So that somebody did shit they shouldn't have done. But that's the whole purpose of this life.
Okay.
Like I said, you kind of have one of those trickstery souls where you're able to sidestep things. And so this is, you came here. There's a couple of reasons why you're here right now. A, because soul wise, you need to get rid of that karma. But B, there's a whole bunch of us here right now that we're not supposed to be here right now. But we agreed to come to, it's kind of like cutting our sentence short a little bit. We agreed to come here so we could knock some of the things off our list. It's like the universe made a deal with us. Like, you have 7 things on your list to finish. You have 3 lives left. If you come here right now with this massive spiritual awakening, with the world and the dumpster fire, with, you know, your specific soul's gifts and abilities, then I'll take 3 of those things off or 4 of those things off, and I'll shorten how many go rounds you have. So you kind of have a double-edged sword here with that. So you came here at a very, very intense, very hard time spiritually for a lot of people, but you also came here just to resolve that karma. So it's kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone thing. So the good thing about that is it sounds like a lot, and it sounds like too much in a way. If you really think about it, it's like, that's a lot. But the thing is, it's really not. And even though it sucks to live through it and it sucks to deal with it on a daily basis, it gets it out of the way for every life you have going forward. And it's really just one thing. I mean, it's just one thing. Whereas a lot of souls have more things than they can ever accomplish in a life because they are lazy and they waited too long. With you, you're like, okay, I'm just going to get the hard shit out of the way in this one. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very pursuant. I'm very hard-headed and stubborn and pursuant as far as I'm going to do it. Like, you know, with the illness, I keep wanting to give up, but I know I can't. I just don't have me to give up. So.
Well, it's only got, I would say, a couple more months, 2 to 3 more months. And I know that sounds like forever, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. So I'm surprised that there's nothing else that you've found you can eat besides those three things? A lot of times when your body tends to commit mutiny when you're leveling up, because that's kind of what you're doing right now too. There a lot of foods you suddenly develop reactions to that you just used to love and now you can't eat them. They make you super, super sick. Like I'm
That's the
going through that myself. I love bacon. It's like literally my favorite food group, and I can't eat it. I can't eat it.
well,
It makes me really sad.
problem though. It's not necessarily just the histamines itself. It's what I've been reacting to is when my histamine levels drop so bad that I react to electricity. Like I can't be on my phone. My scalp starts to burn. My stomach, my chest, my esophagus starts to burn. That sort of thing. I'll lay in bed at night and have my humidifier on, and the humidifier itself will make me vibrate. Like I'm just full of energy. I can't sleep, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So the
Yep.
more, once I start building the levels of histamines is when I get better. My only problem is I've been screwing myself because then I'll crave chocolate and I'll go eat chocolate and they'll make, so I haven't really built a tolerance as to what I react to, like hive wise or anything like that. It's just been, it'll knock down my histamine levels and I'll react really badly to electricity and EMFs.
Right. So here's something that it's kind of interesting. I'm trying to see exactly what it is. I can tell you. Well, there's something specific that you can put on your skin, and it's a certain kind of lotion. And that's why I'm like, I'd like to just like see the bottle. Like that would be great. But there's something, God, this is killing me. So it's a combination of things. It's a lotion, and it's also a couple of different. Okay. So whatever lotion it is, it's in a squeeze bottle with a blue lid. It sits upside down. So like the lid is down here. That will help you. It's like a light colored bottle, blue lid. That helps create a barrier on your skin with some of the electricity and so on. It also will help to cool hives. It'll help to cool some of the skin issues. Now with the burning, that's a little different. It's kind of unfortunately developing a tolerance to it, but having that, putting that on yourself will help tremendously, and just let it soak in. There's also an interesting array of herbs. And here's the thing, you can totally make this for yourself at home. Like, and I would, it's a sugar scrub. So you can use any type of oil you want, mineral, coconut, whatever. I'll have to get you my recipe because it comes out really perfect, the oil to sugar ratio, but you just use oil and sugar, and you need to put peppermint in it. You need to put lavender in it, which is weird because those two, one is a pick me up and one is a calm you down. So it's really interesting with that, but
yeah.
So, but I'll get you, like when we're done here, I'll get you the recipe for that, because off the top of my head, I can't remember if it's like 1 cup to a third, or I don't remember what it is, but it's really, April's honed it pretty well. So where it comes out a good sugar scrub without falling apart or being too gooey. So,
Okay.
And you can literally mix it at home, like whenever
Awesome.
you need it. If you use coconut oil, or almond oil or anything like that, it actually makes it edible. So I don't know why that's matters, but I think it's cool. But mineral oil, not so much. You really want to eat that.
Yeah.
But I know there was another question in there, and I totally forgot after we got onto this other tangent. So I'll let you ask your other questions.
I'm curious what gifts I have as far as the clairs, and which ones do I really need to work on?
So what I would recommend would be to work on all of them, because one of the main clairs that you have, and you'd think at this point I can remember the names of them, but it's hearing, but it's the hearing where It's kind of back here hearing. So that's why you have your spirit guides around you all the time. It's almost like whispering, but they're not. So it's like hearing whispering out here somewhere, and when you turn, there's nobody there, but you just
Yeah.
swore you heard whispering.
Yeah.
It's because they're not able to be as clear as they need to be with you for some reason. I don't know if it's the energy electro issue around you or what, but there's something that's keeping them from being like right here with it. And I think some of it too is that they don't want to startle you or scare you or make you think that you're
I'm
crazy.
and I worry about being crazy. Yes, yeah, that's probably why. But I can hear when my vibrations raise, I can hear it in my right ear. Like the
Okay.
more higher it gets, the higher pitch.
Okay.
And so how I knew that I was a clairaudient. I had the clairaudience. When my brother died, he was in my ear in between, like I almost was completely asleep, like in between the REM.
Mhm.
And I heard him say, Megan, I didn't mean to do it, when he committed suicide. So, and then I saw him a couple of days later with my dad and my other brother who had passed away. So I know that I can see and I can hear. I was just not sure if, that was something that was just because of that moment, because of the trauma, or.
So no, it's a gift. So there's an exercise you can do that will help you strengthen all of them. And I recommend doing it a lot until you have it down like that. And it works on all of them. So what you do is you visualize yourself being in a garden, and you get as detailed as you want with the garden. But start off at first, it just a plain little garden. And in the middle is a rose bush. And when you go up to the rose bush, then you pay close attention in your mind. You have to say, or you have to think, you have to feel, you have to smell like how the grass feels beneath your feet, how the air feels on your face, how the rose, when you go to pick it, feels in your hands. Even touch one of the thorns, you know what I mean? Like how that feels. The rose, run your hands over it and feel how it feels, and then smell it, and like make yourself smell the smell. Once you pick it, then you take a bite of it, and you want to feel the petals on your lips, but you want to taste chocolate. So you envision that this is a really, really dark rose, and when you bite it, it's chocolate. And then after you bite it, you look down, the rose is still full, and you put it back on the rose bush, and then you hear somebody say, thank you for that. I've nourished your body, whatever you feel it needs to say. But it makes you visualize those things. It makes you use all of those clairs. And as you do it, and the more you start to visualize those small things in detail very quickly, then start adding to it, start expanding the garden, start changing the color of the rose, start changing what it tastes like, things like that. It's harder than, it's hard, especially when you're starting out doing those exercises, but it will make your clairs so strong, and it will help you visualize, it'll help you hear, it'll help you. It's a great exercise. It's a really, really great exercise.
Okay. Yeah, I was really concerned with the illness, was because once I had gotten my spiritual awakening, I wanted to intune my third eye, and I did. I was asking you the other night about what happened when you did the above the hertz that you're supposed to. I did 10,000 hertz of a third eye, and everything swelled in there. I could feel it hurting and all of that. And then everything just got really crazy. I started seeing things, visions, and all of that. Dreams were off the charts. And then I got sick. And so I was worried that was what started to get me ill, was that.
And that probably exacerbated it. I had that problem. I really understand. So what I would recommend doing is going through the solfeggios again, especially like the 285, the 417, the lower ones. And
Okay.
then I would also recommend looking on YouTube for some of the I was going to say the really low ones, but here's the problem with that. A lot of the really low ones also have some high ones in them. There's a few that are like 222, 222 and 2222. That one
Okay.
would be okay. Or like the ones that are in threes, that would be okay. But try not to do anything that has the higher hertz in it. Like if you
So,
can find one that doesn't go above a 3-digit number, that's the best one.
okay, because I did 528 last night. I've been working on my solar plexus, so that's okay then. Anything that's not higher than 900 something. Okay.
Yeah, the 963 is the highest, and really I wouldn't even recommend listening to that one for very long. Like if
Okay.
you listen to the solfeggio, just the playlist of all 9 of them, that's good, because that will help you repair anything that 963 does. But 963 will also help you bring that huge one kind of back into focus. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay. Good to
So yeah, listening to the really high frequencies, they can jack you up. These always make me on when I get like really. So there are also some you can find on YouTube that are for specific things. I have one I listen to when my heart's doing some weird funky shit, and it helps tremendously. So you can also look up like meditation for nausea, meditation for eating disorders, you know what I mean? Things like that. And I know it's not quite an eating disorder, but I have a feeling that will help.
Okay.
So I would look up some of those as well. There's all kinds of them on there that are great. And like I always say, listen to the first little bit and then skip to the middle. No matter how long it is, skip to the middle and see how, if you turn it on and instantly you're like, oh my God, like that hurts so deep down in my head, it's not even funny. Or if you turn it on and you're like, oh yeah, I could sleep to this forever. Like you want to make sure that you can handle the middle part, especially if you might be listening to it in your sleep. You don't want to wake up with that really gnarly headache. So.
Okay. One more thing to go back about the illness, and then I'll stop bothering you about it.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Thank you. As far as the illness is concerned, once that 2 or 3 months is up, does that mean it's done permanently? I won't have a permanent histamine intolerance. This is not like a lifelong illness that I have to adjust.
So you are going to have to adjust, but it's not going to be as bad as it is now. Does that make sense? It's like it slows down a little bit, but yeah, you are going to have to adjust. You're not going to be able to go back to just eating whatever you want to eat.
I was hoping sugars and chocolate. I miss my.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to go back to just eating everything. So you are going to have to adjust that a little bit, but it's not going to be as bad as it is right now. It's like right now your body is completely, it's like instead of having a dimmer switch, where one got lighter as the other one got brighter, it's like they both went at the same time. And so your body's in shock right now with that.
Okay. Cool.
Your meat sack is in shock.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. So what, I know you had other questions, and we got off on those other ones.
I can't remember the other ones. I guess, am I meant to stay with Ivan, my husband? Nope. I didn't think so.
Nope.
Okay. Do you know how long that's going to last?
So on that one, it's blacked out. It's not for me to tell you. Apparently you've already had the signs and everything hitting you, but sometimes when I pull a file, there are certain things that are redacted where I'm not allowed to say, because it's something that your soul has to do on your own. And I always hate that, because I'm like, well, what the fuck is the point of me getting in here to look at these and having this access? But I understand too, because there were times that even though I already knew something was over, something needed to happen, something needed to change, if someone had told me, my stubborn self would have gone, no, and then dove right back into it. So,
right. But with this illness, he's kind of shown his true colors. He doesn't believe me. He doesn't believe in the electricity and the EMF sensitivity. He's completely pulled himself away from me. He hasn't touched me in 6 months. And I just, he pretty much, made the choice for me. So I just want to make sure. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm
That's,
sorry. I do understand. There are people that they're meant to only be in our lives for a certain time period. And for starseeds, especially when we don't live here on Earth and we live in other places, the time is so much longer. And so it feels like forever. And so when we come here, we feel like certain things should be forever. Like when we say forever, they should be forever. And when we come to that realization that nothing is forever, nothing is permanent here, it's really hard for our soul to take that. It's like a really bad breakup with, our soul. It's a really hardcore epiphany when our soul realizes that here, being human, there isn't anything that's permanent. Nothing is permanent.
Well, and yeah, and because I've been trying to look for my soulmate. Like I thought Ivan was the one, you always think that one is the one and it's not, but I guess hopefully he's not here. Does it show someone else?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah. I didn't think so. I had a feeling I was not be with anybody.
It's not that you won't be with anybody. It's not that there's not other people on down the road. It's that there's not a soulmate per se waiting for you there.
Like waiting for me in the future, or okay.
Yeah.
Bummer.
So when you're moving on, be happy with the time you have with whoever is in your life at that point. Okay. Just don't expect things to last forever. The thing about hitting this hardcore awakening and your body committing mutiny and all of this stuff going on is that you're going to have people that come into your life that are only meant to be there for 3 months, for 2 months, for 2 years, for things like that. They're only meant to be there for that amount of time. And especially if you learn to incorporate that sensitivity with electricity into yourself, you'll start to really know with someone's energy about how long they're supposed to be in your life. So that has its good and its bad. I'm just letting you know right now, but just be happy with the time you have with that person, even if it's just 2 dates.
Okay. All right.
So,
but this, so this will probably be the last time I'm here on Earth, or?
Oh no, you've still got a few more times to go around. You are just getting the karma aspect done. You got the opportunity to get the karma, the stuff that you hadn't taken care of, all bled out now. So in going forward, it depends, because you did knock a few years or a few times off of how many times you're supposed to be here. So if we put it on that human timeline of, say, 0 to 70 years, and right now you're I would say literally about 35, right about the middle. Instead of going all the way to 70, it's more like 60. The more things you can cut off your checklist. Every life you have something you have to accomplish. You have a checklist. So the more things you can accomplish on those checklists, the less you are here. So it kind of depends how much your soul wants to come back here. But what's interesting is your soul really likes the family line you're in. You tend to come back in this family line repeatedly. So you technically are some of your own ancestors.
Wow.
So it's also why you don't have you have a connection to ancestors, but not like some other people do, where some people have this massive ancestor altar and, connection and so on. You don't really have that because your family does it too. Like the people that are in your soul tribe, you guys tend to come back. You're creatures of habit. You tend to come back in those circles with those specific soul tribes. You rotate around each other all the time.
Okay, so like my dad and my brothers and my mom and all of that, we tend to just stick with each other.
Yeah. I mean, so in soul tribes do anyway, but with you guys, you stay in the same family line with it. Like you literally stay in the same family line. So your mom has been your mom repeatedly. Your dad has been your dad repeatedly.
Okay.
Brothers have been your brothers repeatedly, instead of like, okay, sometimes you're the parent, your dad is your son, you know what I mean? Or your dad is your grandpa or whatever. Instead of it being like that, you guys literally stay in these same roles. You just,
I
yeah.
wonder. That's different. Okay.
There's something interesting about your family line, the DNA there. So there's something interesting about it. There's also, it's also why nobody really stays very long, why no one is here very long. So I have a feeling that a lot of your family is probably very interesting hybrid star seeds as well. And that's why they either their body gives out or they just can't do it anymore. So
Okay. Okay. One more thing and I'll let you go.
Okay.
Do you know roughly how old I'm gonna be as far as when it's gonna be?
Like here in this life,
Yeah.
I always hate answering these questions
Right.
because I can see the number, but at the same time, a lot of factors go into that too. As of right now, if nothing changes, it'll be 63.
Okay.
So if things change, it could be a little longer or shorter. But as of right now, if nothing changes at all, if you stay in the same situation with your husband, with your health, with everything, and yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You can actually manipulate that.
Okay. All right.
So I sent this weird line to you. Like I said, I don't know why it was so important, but it quit getting flashed in my face when I drew it. So I'm like, okay, let me just so let me stop this. Oh, Zoom started changing everything around.